Good evening, students. Today we are going to learn about the another method of calculating mean. One is called as the assumed mean method. The other method is step deviation method. We will also learn about calculating the mode for the ungrouped data as well as for the group data. So students, last day we have learned what is the statics. Statics is analysis of data. The purpose is to get the central tendency. The central tendency may be in term of mean or mode or median. So for mean, we have started with the ungrouped data. How the mean of ungrouped data is calculated? It is written in this first formula, where the mean of the ungrouped data is obtained by adding the observation, then divide it by total number of observation. That's all. But if the data is grouped one, means if the data is given in interval, at that time, rather than individual data, how many numbers are falling in that particular interval, that is given to us. Means the frequency is given for particular interval. So in this case, very first we have to find the representative of that class interval. Representative of that class interval is our class mark. So in this case, we have to deal with the class mark and frequency rather than individual data. And the mean is calculated by the sum of the product of class mark with respective frequency divided by total frequency. In formula form, it is the second one. So this we have learned. This is called as the weighted average, or also called as the direct method. So these two things we have learned in our previous lecture. Please go through that if you have any doubt. Now today we will learn about the third method and fourth method. Be careful, this third method is nothing but slight modification of the second method or direct method. In direct method, we were doing the longer calculation of sum of FIXI divided by FI. Sometimes this sum of FIXI is quite bigger. So that can be reduced by first assuming that let the mean be something. What that mean will be. So we have learned that mean is always the class interval, or the mean is always falling in one of the class interval that we have learned yesterday. Student, you can observe that. Last day I had explained with this for this example that the mean that we have calculated is 8.1. It is falling in the interval 8 to 10. Means here we can assume that let the mean be 8. Then by certain calculation, means certain adjustment, that mean can be 8.1 or 8.3, means greater than 8 if it is added, or the mean or the actual mean that we can get maybe the lesser than this 8. In that case, the correction factor becomes negative. So how is that correction factor? That we have to understand in this new method called assumed mean method. A student, if we recall this direct method, there I had explained you, first we are calculating XIFI, then sum of XIFI, also the sum of FI only, then we are taking the ratio of summation of XIFI and divided by summation of FI. We were getting 8.1. But there is other way of calculating this. What is the other way? Let me explain that here itself. Student, here we are observing that the mean that we have observed, this mean 8.1 that we have observed here, this 8.1, it is in this interval or in some of the interval or class interval basically. So a student, in new method or assumed mean method, we consider one of the class interval. You are free to choose any of the class interval. Means you are free to choose 10 to 12 also, or 4 to 6 also, or 2 to 4 also. Okay. But in general, we are choosing the class interval which is in the middle. Okay. So very first one is in this new method or assumed mean method. So write for the assumed mean method. So assumed, or this is our method number 3, is our assumed mean method. So in this assumed mean method, this is also called as shortcut method. Why shortcut? That we will say. Our calculation get reduced drastically. Shortcut method. Because we want to get the mean, but we first assume something as mean and we are adjusting, means adding or subtracting something from that assumed mean to get the exact mean or real mean. So how is that? This is also called as deviation method. Because first we are assuming a mean. The first thing is assume a mean. From the assumed mean, we are calculating the deviation of each class mark. That's why it is called as deviation method. Okay? So these three names are synonymous. So a student, in this case, the step number 1 is that assume a mean. But what I shall assume? The question is that. So for that assumption, we have learned that this mean is always something in between any of the class interval. So it is advised that you assume a mean. Which mean? The mean or average as one of the limit of any of the class interval. You are free to choose any of the class interval, but better habit is the class interval which is nearly in between. Getting? Which is in between. So assume a mean by, which one should be assumed mean? By choosing the lower limit of one of the class interval which is in between the entire range. Okay, getting? Which is nearly in middle. Nearly in middle of all the intervals or class intervals. Understand this statement carefully, student. So first, what you have to do? Take the lower limit of one of the class interval. So let A be assumed mean. assumed mean. Let A be assumed mean. So which A? This should be the lower limit of a class interval. Get it? So lower limit of a class interval. Which class interval? The class interval which is in between. Just count it. Here you are observing how many class intervals are there. The first interval, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So 7 class interval are there. You can choose the middle one is this one. Though here we are getting it is falling to this one. So you shall prefer the lower limit of this middle class interval, means this 6. You shall prefer this. You will get something that we will calculate, that will be 2.1, that will get added over this 6. Get it? So the purpose would be choose the lower limit of the class interval which is in middle of entire range of data. So you assume A as the assumed mean. So A as assumed mean, this would be the lower limit of class interval in middle, in the middle. Here middle or in the center you may write. Example, in above case, though by calculation we have observed that it is 8.1, so that we have obtained by calculation. But if you are not knowing what is that one, then what is the mean? You shall prefer the interval 6 to 8, in which 6 should be considered as assumed mean. So example, for above, let A is equals to 6. It is the first step that you have to do. Then the next step that we have to do is like this one. So let me write it. So here you can let me write, let A is equals to 6. Which 6 we have chosen? The interval that is falling in the center of this entire range, it is 6 to 8. We have counted. Total range given is how much? 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was there. So that's why we have taken the fourth one. It is in the middle. 3 above, 3 down. So middle. In that, the lower limit of this range, the 6 is chosen as assumed mean. Means we have assumed the mean is 6, though it is not the exact mean. Exact mean will be something else. So it is our assumed mean. Then step number 2 is you have to calculate the deviation of each class mark from this assumed mean. So calculate deviation of each class mark. Class mark, understand this. It is what? Class mark is denoted by xi. Okay, and this deviation is denoted by, this deviation for each class mark is denoted by writing d with I. How this is obtained? The class mark you will take. Last day we have learned how to calculate the class mark xi. From that you have to subtract the assumed mean. Okay, so this is the important thing. This is the second step. After this, means like here, if we consider here, So what I shall do? I shall make another table. In this, if I want to apply the step deviation method, then I shall take let a is equals to 6, and we are writing the di as how much? Xi minus 6 for each one. A student, here it is 1, so it should be like our 1 minus 6, it become minus 5. So di for the first interval is minus 5. For the second, how much it become? A student, the class mark here is our 3. So it is 3 minus 6. It is our minus 3. For the third one, the class mark is 5. So 5 minus 6. It is minus 1. Then next one is our 7. So 7 minus 6, it is our 1. Next one is our 9. So 9 minus 6 is our 3. The next one is our 11 minus 6, 5. Next one is our 13 minus 6. Go for 7. Students, so you need not write this subtraction while you are doing this. I had explained, that's why I have taken this. So you calculate this di. Getting? After this di, you have to calculate fi di. Means now the class mark shall not be considered, rather this deviation di shall be considered. So another column you have to calculate this di fi, di into fi. Okay, students, so that we need to calculate. So how to calculate di fi? Students, understand this carefully. Here our di for the first one is this one, and what is our fi is this one. The two black rounded numbers should be multiplied. So it is like our minus 5 into 1. It is our minus 5 here. Okay. For the next class 2 to 4, I shall calculate minus 3 multiplied by which number? 2. So it becomes minus 6. Okay. So we are calculating the di fi. Go for doing the same thing. Again, minus 1 into, this is our minus 1, and here 1. It is our minus 1. Go for doing the 1 and 5. 1 into 5 is our 5. Go for 3 into 6 as 18. Go for 5 into 2, 10. Go for this 7 into 3. Get it, student? Now what you have to do? Now you have to calculate the sum of these data, means summation of di fi. Whatever we have calculated, that we are going to add. If the direct method is not required, then xi fi, this calculation is not required to you, but calculation of xi is still required to you. Okay, and di is also required for you. Only fi xi is not required. In place of fi xi, you need to calculate di fi. Go for adding this. A student, while adding this addition you will observe become very convenient or very easy, or even a simple number. How is that? Take it. Minus 5, then minus 6, minus 11, minus 1 become minus of 12, minus 12 plus of 5 becomes 7, minus 7 rather, minus 7 plus of 18 become 11 plus 10, 21 plus 21. How much? It become our 42. Are you getting this one? So the number that we have obtained by addition of DIFI is only 42, but earlier calculation, the number XIFI was quite bigger. So this way we are observing that the calculation is being reduced slightly or become slightly simpler, though one step have increased for calculating the DI, but the addition and the numbers are now simpler. After calculation of this DIFI, we have to calculate the correction factor. That correction factor have to be adjusted with the assumed mean. Here we are observing DIFI is positive. Sometimes even the negative number are more than the positive, it may be negative. Like here we are observing for DIFI, some number are negative, some number are positive. So it may be negative or positive. Accordingly, the assumed mean get corrected. Then what you have to do? Then the correction factor CF you have to calculate. It is summation of DIFI divided by summation of FY. This you have to calculate. Means how much it become? If I am going to calculate it here, it becomes simply like our 42 divided by 20. How much it become? 2.1. Get it? Then after this calculation, then correct mean or actual mean, this is denoted by X bar, is obtained by adding this correction factor in assumed mean. If this correction factor is negative, it will automatically get subtracted. Means this assumed mean is calculated by the interval that we have taken as 6, the lower limit of interval. In that this 2.1 will get added. So 6 plus 2.1 become 8.1. The same thing. Are we getting? So that's why in assumed mean method, the formula get modified to, for getting the actual mean, it is assumed mean A plus summation of DIFI divided by summation of FY. It is this one. Getting? Like here, example here, by assumed mean method, X bar is obtained by this assumed mean we have taken as the 6. Here we have rounded it. And this factor, correction factor, we have calculated this factor as 2.1. What we are getting? 8.1. So this is, what was the earlier one? Same 8.1. Are you getting? So assumed mean simply means first you have to assume the mean. First step, assume A. A is our assumed mean, which is the lower limit of the class interval in center or in middle. You are free to choose even the upper limit also. Accordingly, this correction factor become negative or will change their value. Then calculate the deviation DI. Then you have to calculate this factor sum of DIFI and divide it by FY. Then correct mean is obtained by adding the correction factor that is obtained by summation of DIFI divided by summation of FI in this A. It is this. So this is the formula for assumed mean method. Getting it, students? That I had explained by taking this one. So this x bar obtained is our actual mean. So actual mean or real mean. This A is our assumed mean that we have assumed as 6, and this ratio is our correction factor or adjustment with this assumed mean. So this way we can calculate. So these are the steps that we have to keep in mind. So first, assume. So you have to just keep the key things in your mind. First, you have to assume a mean suitably. Which mean you shall choose? A student, I had explained. Choose the lower limit of the central class interval. Then for each class interval, you need to calculate the deviation of its class mark from this assumed mean. Then finally, you have to calculate the summation of DIFI in one of the table. Then finally, mean is calculated by adding this correction factor and obtained by the formula x bar is equals to A plus summation of DIFI divided by FI. So in place of summation of XIFI, we are calculating summation of DIFI. That is the only difference. Okay, student, I hope this is clear. With this, we are going to solve the question. So the same thing I had also explained by adding two more column in previous day data, and here we are observing the assumed mean, whatever we are getting is being corrected by 2.1. This way the final mean obtained is same as the mean obtained by average method. A student, keep in mind, sometimes there may be some minor differences after their decimal. That is possible because of our assumption that we are taking and because of the calculation approximation. Now the next method is called as step deviation, where what we will do, this deviation D is divided by its class interval length H. Like in this case, what is the class interval length? In this case, we are getting that class interval is obtained by taking the difference of upper and lower one. So here H is calculated by 4 minus 2 is 2. Anywhere you can calculate, or H is our 8 minus 6, the same as 2. So in next method called a step deviation method, this DI is divided by this HI, and that is denoted by UI. So let me explain that one also, then we will go for the next method. A student, so this way I had explained this third method. Next, the fourth method called a step deviation method. In this fourth method, what we have to take care, understand this. So very first, a student, calculate the XI. It is the very first step for the group data. Then I'll write this in the step form. So step number 1 in all this method is calculate XI for each interval, for each class interval. XI is class mark. Okay. Then for direct method, you have to calculate XI, FI for each. Then their addition, add it in the column, divide it by sum of the FI, that will give you the mean. It is this one. But if we are coming to assumed mean method, Then the second step come into picture is first you again calculate the xi for each class interval, but here you will take or let A as assumed mean. Assumed mean. What is this assumed mean? Lower limit of class interval in center. Class interval in middle or center. This one. It is the second step. Third step that you need to do is so write down the step number 3. You have to calculate the deviation di for each class interval by taking the difference of xi from this A. Okay. Now you have to multiply this di with fi in one of the column. Go for adding it. Then divide it by the summation of fi, total number of observation. After this calculation, in this you have to add the A. By that way, you will get the real mean. So this is the method number 3. Now, if we are going for the method number 4, then up to this step number 3, it's okay. But new step that come into picture, step number 4, is that you have to calculate this class length, that is h. So take h. H is your nothing but upper limit minus lower limit. It is same for all the class interval. So this difference. Then what you have to do is, for each class interval you have to divide the deviation by this h. This deviation is called as a step deviation. When the step of h is going to divide each deviation, it is called as a step deviation. And this is denoted by ui. The symbol are important. You have to use this symbol one. So now once you have calculated the ui, you forget for di and xi. Now you need to calculate the product of this ui with fi in one of the column. For each interval you have to do. Go for adding it. Then divide it by sum of fi, this one. But keep in mind, here the factor h have to be considered for the actual mean. Why? Since in the intermediate step we have divided it by h, so this entire calculation have to be multiplied by h first. So this is the correction factor now. So in this step deviation method, assumed mean will be there, but now the correction factor is calculated by, or the adjustment factor is calculated by summation of ui fi divided by fi into h. So these have to be added in our assumed mean, because here assumed mean di is there. Di is coming into picture only after assumed mean. So this way, this calculation that you will get will give you the actual mean. So this is the method number 4. That's all. So only one steps get increased. So this procedure you have to keep in mind, students. Okay, I have explained all this method in single in single procedure, where you shall stop for which step. Okay, so this you please keep in mind. Do not forget it. How I have calculated, I have explained the same thing. So now let us go for calculating the mean by assumed mean method and step deviation method for the data given here. See, this is the question I have selected. A student, here we are interested to calculate the mean by direct method, assumed mean method, as well as the step deviation method. Later on we will learn about the mode, and then I will find the mode of this given group data. It is group data. Why? The class intervals are given. So in class interval 0 to 10, there are 8 such data, but we are not knowing exactly whether these 8 data have the value 0, 2, 5, 7, whatever is there. That exact value is not known. That's why it is called as the group data. So students, the very first step that you need to do is what you have to do? Write it vertically. That is the first step. Many a time our students are thinking that if the data is given in the horizontal, they are thinking just to do it horizontally. No, better habit is write it vertically. That will give you better understanding. So first write it. What are the class interval? So let me write the class interval. Class interval. Or students, so class interval here it is given in the range. I will calculate the mode later. So let me create the space here. The fourth one will be our mode. So very first you have to take the data as it is, or take it as it is. The next one is whatever the frequency given, denote it by the symbol Fy. You again take it vertically. The next one is for the class interval, blindly we need to calculate what? The representative of class interval. That is called as the class mark. Class mark is denoted by Xi. So be careful. Never forget to calculate the class mark, whatever the method you are going to use. Do not worry for that the method, but blindly you first calculate their class mark. I will calculate the class mark here. Then according to the required method, we need to calculate the other things. Okay, I will calculate it. So let me first copy the class interval 0 to 10, 10, 20, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. Only this much data are given. Okay. Now write down the frequency given. For 0 to 10 it is our 8. For 10 to 20, 10. For 20 to 30, 9. For 30 to 40, 12. For 40 to 50, it is our 11. Okay, student? So write down the class mark. What is class mark for 0 to 10? 0 plus 10 by 2, it is 5, or the midpoint of each class. 10 to 50, 10 to 20, the midpoint is 15. For 20 to 30, the midpoint is 25. For 35 to 40, the midpoint is 35. And 40 to 50, the midpoint is 45. How we have obtained? Difference is 10. 50 minus 40 is 10. 10 by 2 is 5. Add that 5 over this 40, you are getting 45. The same technique you can use quickly for calculating the class mark. It's all. Then, one by one, we have to do as per our requirement. Let me do very first for the direct mean method. Okay. So, for direct mean, let me write for direct mean. So this calculation that I am going to do here is what? Xi into Fy. This is required for direct mean only. If direct mean is not required, direct mean method is not required, then this column formation is not required. So what to do? Xi Fy. So Xi is our 5, Fy is 8. 8 5s are 40. Students, you have to tell me. Similarly, you have to go for the others class, or for each of the class you have to calculate the Xi Fy. Let us go for the calculation of Xi Fy. For the Xi as 15 and Fy as 10, 15 into 10 is 150. Every student is getting, or if you have any doubt, please ask, because I had explained earlier. So that's why I am not writing the step or the multiplication here. You can calculate this data and directly write in the table. The next one is 25 into 9 is how much? 225. So write this as the product of 25 and 9, 225. Getting, students? So after that, we shall go for the next class interval, where you have to multiply 35 with the 12. How much is that? It become 420. So it is our 420. Next one is for the 455. Sorry, multiply it. Means 45 into 11. So go for multiplying this. You will get 4. Then 5 4 9. 5 ones are 5. 495. Okay, this one. Now, for direct mean method, you have to do the calculation from here, from this much only. Okay, student? So what is required? Very first, the summation of Fy is always required. So you must calculate summation of Fy. Go for adding this. You can get it. 8 plus 10, 18, plus 9, 27, plus 12, 39, 40, and it is above 50. Okay? So sum of all the frequencies 50, means 50 observations are there. Now for direct mean method, I need to calculate this value. What is this? Summation of Xi Fy. What is this value? Go for adding it. Students, can you add it? 4 to the 800, 915, then 1140, then 1290, then 1330. Student, please verify this, whether it is correct or wrong. Please verify. 495 added with 420 added with, yes,
Sir, it is correct.
plus, okay, 150 plus 40. Yeah, correct. So student, here we have calculated 1330. So this 1330 is our summation of FIXR. So only up to this much data, our method 1. So mean by direct method. This we have solved last day also. So very first write down the formula. X bar is equals to summation of xi fi, or you may write summation of fi xi, mean the same thing, divided by summation of fi. Go for just substituting it. You will get 1330 divided by 50. You can divide it. So 5 2s are 10, then 5 6s are 30.6. Yes, student, correct? Divided by 50. Yes, it's correct. So this is the mean that we have obtained by direct method. It's all. The data is simple, so it may appear that this calculation is easier, but we will see if we are taking the bigger data at that time, even this direct mean method or this calculation becomes so big that it is difficult to calculate. And in examination, you will not have the calculator. You are not permitted with calculator. You have to do manual calculations. So direct mean method, this much a story only. It's okay. Now, if we are going for the assumed mean method, then what to do? In assumed mean method, I need to assume. So you have to write on the table itself, let A as assumed mean. The symbol A is always mean by assumed mean. Take the middle one. 1, 2, 3, 4, total 5 class interval. In this, the middle one is 20 to 30. Out of this 20 to 30, which number should be taken? You are free to choose either 20 or 30, but it is always advised to take this 20. Okay? So choose this 20. So first allocate the center or central class interval. In that, take the lower limit. So assumed mean A is equals to how much? A student? 20. Right at the top itself, let A is equals to 20. Then DI is equals to how much? Xi minus A means minus 20 I will calculate. Okay, student? I will calculate this. Xi minus A. This will give us the deviation. So this calculation I am going to do. A student, you are free to write the A at the top itself, or you can write down the for the second method. So for the second method, I am writing for assumed mean method, assumed mean method. So here let assumed mean, this is not the actual mean that we are assuming, it is our assumption. This assumed mean A, here we have chosen as the 20, have to be adjusted to get the real mean or correct mean. So it is this one. Then deviation of each class interval, deviation di is obtained by xi minus a, means I shall calculate which one, xi minus 20. So that's why directly we have written xi minus 20 calculation over this next column. So calculate this di. How to calculate this di? What to observe? This 20 is already fixed, a student. So this 20 you have to subtract from which one? The xi is this column. So 5 minus 20. Okay, for the first class interval, 5 minus 20 is how much? Minus of 15. That's all. For the second, it is 15 minus of 20. 15 minus 20 is minus 5. That's all. Next is our 25 minus 20 plus of 5. Next, student, are you getting what I am writing? How I am writing or not? If you have any doubt, please ask. Please do not forget to ask. In the next, for the next di, I shall take the xi, which is 35, and in this 35 we need to subtract the assumed mean 20. Okay, so 35 minus 20 is our 15. For the next one, again we need to go for the next xi, which is our 45, and in this we need to subtract the same 20. 45 minus 20 is our 25.
Sir.
Yes. Yeah, boliye Vivek.
Sir, what if two class intervals are in middle?
Two class interval in middle, not exactly getting your question.
Sir, here 5 class intervals are there, so middle one is.
For that case, you are free to choose either. Say if there is 6 class interval, then you are free to choose either the third one or fourth one. Okay, student? So if there is 8 class interval, you shall choose the either fourth one or fifth one. Getting? So if 2 are in middle, you are free to choose any of them. Getting? If you are choosing the higher one and something mean is coming to the lower side, then it will be subtracted. The correction factor that you will get will be negative. That we will also solve. One of the question I will take where the 2 class interval will be there, and we will choose the bigger, and the correction or the adjustment will come negative. That I will also take. Let me, for simplicity, let me explain this. In this case, the di we have calculated. A student, no need to add di. Di is not giving anything. Di is now the representative for the class interval for assumed mean method. So I need to go for which one? I need to go for di fi. Okay, student? What is our di fi? Yes, students? Be careful in calculating this di fi. So our di is minus 15 and fi is our 8. So minus 15 into 8 you need to do. Okay, students? So multiply it. 15 8s are 120. But since it is the negative one, so we shall write minus 120. Okay, student? So this kind of calculation you have to do for everyone. Then minus of 5 multiplied by the 10. Take this minus 5 and minus 10. So it becomes minus of 50. Okay. The next one is 5 as di multiplied by 9. It is our 45. The next one is our 15 have to be multiplied with the 12. So take this 15 and this 12. Multiplying this, you will get 150, 180. So this is our 180. Okay. Next one is 25 into 11. Multiply it. It will be 300. No, 275. That's all. Get it? Now observe carefully. Now we need to calculate the summation of this DI FI in this column. So go for calculating this. In this case, what we are going to obtain? Even this calculation is very easier. How it is very easier? You are getting some are negative, some are positive. You can understand like this. Say this is minus 50 plus of 45. Only minus 5 is left. 180 and 120 means 60 is left. Even in that minus 5 is there. Minus, so 55 is left. So you have to just add 55 in 275. Okay, so it become 330. So it is like simply 330. So even this addition become more simpler. Can you verify whether it is correct or not? Yes, student. So it was our 55, no? Yeah, let me verify this. 60 minus 5 is our 55. Adding this 330. Yeah, it appeared me correct. 330 is correct or not? None of you are solving or none of you are verifying with me?
Correct, sir.
All the other students are sleeping or whether they are just noting. A student, I am doing slowly for you people to calculate it. Unless or until you have this calculation approach, you cannot save the time. Your time will be lost. You cannot complete the paper. So this 330. Now what to do? A student, for our this assumed mean method, this step we have done, this calculation we have done for the assumed mean method. So this calculation is for this method only. So therefore we need to calculate summation of DIFI divided by summation of FI now, and that have to be added over the assumed mean. By that way we can get it. So write this. So for this assumed mean method, the mean this mean means it is the correct mean or real mean or correct mean. So mean x bar. So this assumed mean have to be adjusted with summation of DIFI divided by summation of FI. That's all. Go for doing this. Or if possible, you may calculate this summation of DIFI by FI separately. So from this to this and this, we are going to calculate this for assumed mean method. It is required. So FI is always required, or you may directly substitute the value here. So this is equals to assumed mean is our 20. So this 20 we will take here, 20 that we have assumed, plus DIFI 330 divided by the FI is our 50. Go for simplifying this. So it is like our 20. We may write this as 20 plus the second part you have to do how much? 5 6 ja 30.6. What is the answer? 26.6. Same as earlier or not, students? Same as earlier. So this way, whatever the mean we have assumed, that is being adjusted to get the real or actual mean. Ready? This is called assumed mean method. That's all. Now let us come for the step deviation method. For a step deviation method, after this we shall go one step more. So let me write it here. Let me create the space. Let us calculate the fourth one. The third one is our step deviation method. Step deviation method. A student, in a step deviation method, what we have to do? Whatever the DI we have calculated, that's correct. Up to that much we need to do. So here again, let A is equals to 20 as we were doing the assumed mean method. Then DI is obtained by subtracting the class mark XI and this 20. Then you need to calculate UI. How is that? Each of the DI have to be divided by the H. So what is H here that you also write? What is the class length? 10 minus 0 is 10, or any of the class length you can take. H is class length, it is 10 here. This 10 can be calculated by subtracting 50 and 40 or 30 and 20. Always you are getting it is the uniform class interval. So that class interval length H means it is obtained by, how fastly we can obtain? So it is our Xi minus of 20 divided by H is our 10. So this UI we need to calculate. So this step I am going to do here. So right now UI. How is this UI calculated? The formula you have to write. So whatever the DI or Xi minus of 20 divided by the 10. You need to calculate this much. How we have arrived to this Xi minus 20 by 10, that I had explained. So you should be careful while you are writing this. So let us go for calculating this. What we can get? So let us calculate. A student, already we have calculated what? Xi minus 20 we have already calculated. Where is that? It is already here, student. Observe. So whatever the DI you have calculated, better habit is to calculate the DI here also. But this DI have to be divided by 10. Means here we shall divide this minus 15 by 10. So it is nothing but 1.5. It is like that. Then again, the next one is our minus of 5. This is DI numerator, and the H already we have taken as the 10. So it become our minus of 0.5 or minus of 0.5 you can write. The next one is again our, which one? Student, this 5D. I, and it is to be divided by 10. It is not adjusted with F or anything else, but this 10. So this 5 is divided by 10, it becomes 0.5. Next one is our 15. So this time this 15 have to be divided by the 10. So it become our 1.5. Then next one is our, which one? What will be the value? You people are sleeping. Cannot you people quickly acknowledge or tell me?
So
So it is our
2.5.
25 divided by 10. It is our 2.5. As long as you are interacting, it appears me that you are working or you are learning. Otherwise, listening is equivalent to just listening the video or sleeping. So please keep the class live. So this thing, after calculation of this column, we have to calculate the UIFI. Why? Now this UI is a representative of class interval. So in each step we are getting that the representative is being changed, but the FI remains as it is. So go for calculating the UI into FI. Calculate this. Means now we need to multiply this minus 1.5 with the FI as 8. What you will get? 8 into 1.5 as 12. But since the negative sign is there, so minus of 12 you can get. Next time we need to change this. The next one is our UI is this one and FI is 10. So minus of 0.5 into 10, it becomes minus of 5. Getting? The next time I need to take the next number. The next UI is 0.5 have to be multiplied with this 9. So it is 4.5. The next one, go for changing this, is our 1.5 have to be multiplied with 12. Then it becomes 18. The next one, 2.5 have to be multiplied with this 11. It becomes 27.5. Okay, student. So this calculation. So this way UIFI we have calculated. Now we need to find the value of summation of UIFI. Keep in mind. Go for adding this. Some of these are negative, some of these are positive. You can get it very easily. It becomes 33 only. Go for adding. You can get 18 minus 12 is our 6 in plus and 5 is in minus. So it becomes 1. Then this is our 4.5. So become 5.5. 27.5 plus 5.5. You are getting 33. 33 is correct. Okay, student. So this way this 33 is now calculated. Now in this step deviation method, the required formula is this UIFI divided by FI have to be multiplied again back by the H that we have taken here. Okay, so it is like this one. So let us calculate it. After this, the actual mean x bar is calculated by this assumed mean have to be adjusted by summation of ui fi by fi, but since the ui is obtained by multiplying it by the h, so this need to be multiplied by h also. So h is very important, do not forget the h. Many a time this h is written before, means a plus h bracket, this one, let me write that form also, or it may be written like a plus h into this one. Okay, so therefore required mean in this case is obtained by assumed mean is our 20, so substitute 20 here, plus the h we are taking here is our 10. Okay, class interval 10, but the calculation of uifi is our 33. This have to be divided by summation of fi is our 50. So go for substituting 50 here. This 10 and this 0 will get cancelled. Here again you are getting it is 20 plus 33 by 5 is our 6.6. So this is our 26.6. So this is all about. Get it? So this way, by applying all the three methods, I have calculated the mean. So mean calculation become convenient, means the calculation become convenient, or the number arithmetic become easier by considering this assumed mean and step deviation. A student, in step deviation, each of the deviation is divided by h. Therefore, for the final mean, this h need to be multiplied with uifi by summation of fi. Okay, so please do not forget this. So this is all about calculation of mean. Now let us go for calculation of mode. What is mode? Let me explain. Then I will take one example, or even I will calculate the mode for this one also. Students, let us come for mode. So mode for ungrouped data, for ungrouped data, mode is the observation which occur most frequently, or most frequently occurring observation is called as mode, which occurs most frequently. Means the mode is nothing but most frequent data, or this is also called as the observation having maximum frequency. Maximum frequency. So how is the question? Let me take one question. Let me take a question from your book so that you can feel that we are solving the book also. I have explained each and everything. How to calculate UI, DI. The same thing is also here. This exercise you can do very easily. So mode for the group data. Yeah, let me take this data itself. This is the question. Which kind of data is this? Yes, students. Here direct observation is given, so it is ungrouped data. So it is given that the wicket taken by the bowler in 10 cricket match, the 10 cricket matches are as follows. Okay, find the mode. So where, how to get the mode is equals to the wicket taken by a bowler in 10 cricket matches are as follows. The wicket taken is given here. Means it may be possible that in first match the bowler have taken 2 wicket, the second match 6 wicket, the third match 4th wicket, the fourth match 5 wicket, in 6th match no wicket, the 7th match 2 wicket. I think it will be 10 only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8th match 3, 9th match 2, and 10th match is 3. So these are. So the mode means you have to find the wicket which is occurring maximum time. It's so simple. Okay, the wicket taken by bowler. So it is the wicket. Okay, so which wicket or which number of wicket occur at the maximum time here? So number of wicket which is occurring maximum time. So it is our number of wickets occurring maximum times. Which wicket or which number of wicket is occurring maximum time? A student, here we are observing that if we count for the 2 wickets, so this is the rough I am doing, though we can write it directly. So 2 wicket occurring how many times? 1 time, 2 time, and 3 time. So it is 3 times. Okay, keep in mind mode is always the data itself. Okay, now it is the number of wicket that we need to give the value as mode. Now if we consider the 6 wicket, so 6 wicket how many time? 1 time, only 1 time. If we consider the 4 wicket, also 1 time. If we consider the 5 wicket, yes, this 5 wicket is also 1 time. Now consider the 0 wicket, 1 time. This 1 wicket, also 1 time. The 3 wicket, here we are getting 2 times. Okay, student? So in this case, these times indicate the frequency. So which number of wicket is occurring maximum time? It is our 3 time. This 2 wicket is occurring. Therefore, this 2 will be the mode. So here 2 wicket is occurring. Let me write 2 wicket is occurring maximum time. Even that number of time is also not required in this, though it is 3. Therefore, the mode is 2 itself. So it's that much simple. Getting? So whatever the data given, from that data you just observe which data is occurring maximum number of time. That will give you the mode. It's so simple kind of thing. Okay, student? So mode is quite easy for the ungrouped data. Now let us go for the grouped data. That is important. Right. Mode for grouped data. Mode for group data is obtained by the formula L plus F1 minus F0 divided by twice of F1 minus F0 minus F2, and this have to be multiplied with the interval length H, where L is what? L is called as the model class. So first we need to select the model class, its lower limit. So it is the lower limit of model class. Like in assumed mean method, we were just selecting one of the interval and its lower limit we were taking. But here, not like assumed mean we shall take. Rather, we shall observe the frequency distribution. In that, we shall observe which frequency is occurring maximum time, its lower limit shall be taken. Example. So for understanding this L, let us go back to the question that we were solving. For this, here we have to first observe which kind of observation we need to do. First, we need to do the frequency. Okay, student? So for mode, right here, for mode, the first step is select model class. Model class selection. That model class selection with the help of frequency Fy, which is maximum. So observe the Fi. What is the maximum Fi value? 8, 10, 9, 12, 13. What is the maximum one? It is the 12. So students, this 12 have to be marked as model class frequency F1, and the interval corresponding to this 12 is 30 to 40. This interval 30 to 40 is called as your model class. Model class. And in this 30 is the value of L. So L is equals to 30. Are you getting? So this way we shall first determine the lower limit of model class. Example, here L is equals to 30 as what is there? Maximum frequency F1 here. The next denotation is our H. H is the class length. Class length already we are knowing. So for any of the class, for uniform class interval, we have to take upper limit minus lower limit. This we are already knowing. Here F1 denotes the frequency of model class. Of model class. A student, so the very important thing is the model class here. So what is this model class? Let me write here. Model class. It is the class interval having maximum frequency or highest frequency. It's so simple. So for that class interval, whatever the class interval we are taking, it has some lower limit to upper limit. So taking this difference, you have to calculate the h as the ul minus ll, this difference, this ll, this as the l lower limit, and whatever the frequency corresponding to this that is given, that will be your f1. So this thing we have to understand carefully, that for the given interval, the frequency given, that is denoted by f1. So from this you have to find this frequency f1. So these three things, h, l, f1 is determined with the help of model class. So example, here we have taken, in this case we have selected the model class with the help of this 12. From this 12, the interval 30 to 40 we have taken. So this 30 is giving the lower limit of model class, and this 12 itself is acting as the frequency f1. Get it? It is this one. So this f1 we can write here as our 12, and here h we can write here as 10. The interval that we have taken for this example is 10. Now coming to the f2 and f0. Let us first write this as f0. f0 is the frequency of class preceding model class. Means what? If we consider the example, from this example we can understand, we have chosen the model class first by allocating the highest frequency 12, the model class 30 to 40, in that the L, the lower limit of model class, is 30. Now with this frequency, you have to just go one step back for getting the f0. From this 12, you have to go back one step back. This is just the preceding one. So this preceding one, 9, gives us f0. Okay, student? And going one step ahead means the frequency of the class succeeding the model class. Means after this 12, need not be in number, it should be lesser or greater. Don't worry. Or just before this 12, or just like 11, or after this 12. No, it is not that one. It is simply you have to observe the frequency with the model class, their frequency. Before that, note down the frequency, whatever the value is. So it is 9, though the lower number before the 12 is 11, but f0 is marked as 9. The next frequency means the frequency of the class succeeding the model class. It is our 40 to 50. Its frequency is this 11. So this 11 is denoted by f2. So this way, very first allocate the model class by observing the frequency, then determine the lower limit, determine the h also. From here the h can also be determined. It is obvious that it is 40 minus 30 is our 10. Always it will be 10. Then after that, determine the f0 by observing the frequency just before the f1, it is 9, and f2 frequency just after the f1, it is our 11. Okay, student? So these things have to be written here. So frequency of the class preceding the model class means just before.
Sure.
Yes.
So what if class interval is in the first or last? Then F0 and F2 will not come.
Yeah, a student, for at your level, I have told you two things. It may be possible that the highest frequency is same, that is called the model class. If this model class is existing at the beginning and end, these two condition you need not learn. So आपके लिए जो पूछे जाएंगे ये ऑलवेज बीच में ही रहेंगे, इसीलिए हमने पहले क्वेश्चन को चेक किया था कि वेदर द मोड कैन बी कैलकुलेटेड एट योर लेवल फॉर दिस और नॉट. Okay, so you should be careful. It is so some number before and after will be given to you, but keep in mind, if it is at the end or beginning, then you shall take that value as the 0. Get it? Say if the 12 is existing at the end, then for the succeeding one nothing is there, means we shall take the 0. If it is occurring at the beginning, then succeeding will be there, but preceding will not be there, take it at 0. Get it? Though such question will not ask at your level, but still you shall aware of that. So student, in this case, the frequency of class preceding means it is just before. It is just before the model class. Example here, the F0 that we have obtained is 9 and F2 is called as the frequency of class succeeding the model class. A student, this succeeding simply means just after the model class. Like here, we have observed that F2 is our 11. Okay, student? It is this one. So just calculate these values and substitute in this. So, student, what is the step? The very first step is, or the important step, or you may write the single step rather, there is. So, step 1 is allocate model class. How? So, allocating model class, you have to first observe the frequency table. So, highest frequency. So, class interval for highest frequency. From this model class itself, you will get so many kind of things. So from this, you can get the L as the lower limit of model class, the F1 as the frequency of model class, then F0, the H is already the interval, F0 just before frequency, and F2 just after frequency. So allocate, find only this much, and H is your class interval, upper limit minus lower limit. Then just substitute it. Only this much is enough. Only this much is required. Like for the above data, now I am going to calculate the fourth and final thing, that is called your mode. So for this data, we have to calculate the mode. Write down the fourth one is our mode. A student, we have marked here that by observing the frequency column, the highest frequency 12 we have allocated, From this 12, we have allocated the model class 30 to 40. So this 12 is acting as F1, this 30 is acting as L, and the interval is the 10. 40 minus 30 is 10. You may take this as from the 50 minus 40 also. And F0 is the frequency before this 12, it is 9. So F0, and frequency after this 12, F2. So this data you have to write once again for this. So here our model class is 30 to 40. You write like this one. Okay. Therefore, from here L is 30, one thing. F, the frequency that we have observed for this 30 to 40 is our 12. The H is our 40 minus 30 is 10. Afterward, the F0 before this 12, it is our 9. And F2 frequency after this 12 is our 11. Therefore, mode is calculated by lower limit plus, write down the formula first, or let me write the formula in black. So this mode is calculated by lower limit plus h times of F1 minus F0 divided by, now twice of F1 minus F0 minus of F2. Close it. H I have written before this bracket. You may write it after also. Substitute the value. Go for substituting. It is our 30 plus H is our 10. Whatever inside the bracket, put it. 12 minus F1 is our 12, F0 is 9 divided by twice of 12 minus of 9 minus of F2 is 11. A student, here you will always observe that whatever the addition factor, that will always positive. Okay. Why? You are getting that F1 is the highest one. The other F0 and F2 are even lesser than that. So the difference will always be positive. That is one thing. So student, go for calculating this. It is 30 plus 10 is there. In numerator 12 minus 9 is 3. In denominator 2 into 12 is 24 minus 9 is our 15, or 24 minus 9 minus 11 is same as 24 minus of 20. So it is our 24 minus of 20. I can write directly as the 4. Numerator 12 minus 9 as 3. Denominator 24 minus 20 as 4. Okay, student. If there is any common thing, you can cancel. So here this can be written as 2. This can be written as 5. So this is equivalent to 30 plus 5 3s are 15 by 2. You can write this as 30 plus, go for dividing this, it becomes 7.5. So it is our 37.5. Getting it, students? So here we are observing that the mode is 37.5, while the mean observed was 26.6. So there is a wider variation in the mode. Okay, there is a relation between mode, mean and median that we will learn later. So this was all about the today class, what is there. But let me take one example where more than one central class interval is there. So let me explain it. Student, I had explained the calculation of this mode. Let us take one more question. From where I shall take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are there. So search for the table which have the 6 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are there. Leave it. 1, 2, 3, 4 are there. Yeah, let us take this a smaller one, which is quite tiny. Okay. Let me take this one. So for this, we need to calculate whether they are different or same. Yeah. Highest class, preceding, succeeding are existing. So good. Let first is mean by all method. Second is our mode. These two things we have to calculate. Hardly I will take another 5 to 10 minutes. We can quickly do it. So student, so let us do it. Whatever the class interval is given, just rewrite it. It is 0 to 4, then 4 to 8, then 8 to 12, then 12 to 16. It is this one. Then whatever the frequency is given, you need to write it. 4, 8, then 5, then 6. Then what is required? The next requirement is our xi. So calculate the xi. 0 plus 4 by 2, it is 2. The 4 plus 8 by 2, it is 6. 8 plus 12 by 2, it is 10. Then 12 plus 16 by 2, or 12 plus 4 by 2, it is our 14. That's all. After this, what is required? For direct method, XI is required. So calculate it. XI into FI. 4 2s are 8. Then 8, 6s are 48. Then 5 10s are 50. Then 6 14s are 84. Go for adding it. Student, here we need this summation of Fi, which is always required. Go for adding it. So 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 5 is 17, plus 6 is our 23. Another one is summation of XI. Go on adding it. Yeah. Any one of you have done or not?
126.
How much?
126.
Not 500. How it can reach? Yeah. What you are speaking? Tell me.
126.
Good. So it is our 126. Therefore, I will calculate everything. So for the 1A, mean x bar summation of XI divided by Fi, this is calculated as our 126 divided by 23. Any student have calculated this? Yes? No one? It will be 3, 4, 5 times. 5.4. Approximately we can take, or exactly you may go one step more. 4, 7. It is this much. Okay? It is one method. The another one, we need to go for a step deviation. So first we need to calculate the deviation, or let us first calculate by assumed mean method. So for assumed mean method, we need to choose the A. So first you write the A itself. Okay, student, over this table itself. Here we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4 are there. So you are free to choose either 4 and 8 or
Sir,
8 and 12. Yes, tell me.
sir, I multiplied that wrong. Sir, summation EXIFI.
What is that value?
Sir, summation of XIFI is 190.
Okay. Summation of FIXI is 190. Okay. I hope. So this is our 190. Please correct accordingly. So write this as 190. Then correct it also. How much is that?
8.26.
196 divided by 23. We are getting is 8.5 or 8.6, you may write.
8.26.
Yes, how much is that? 8.26.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me consider it as the correct. Okay. A student, for the next method, I need to take an assumed mean. For assumed mean, I may choose the interval 4 to 8 or 8 to 12. Okay, student. So please tell me, you people, what I shall choose. Whether 4 to 8 or 8 to 12. Anyone can be chosen. Yeah, tell me quickly.
Sir, 8 to 10.
Okay, let us choose this 8 to 12. So in this case, we shall choose this 8. So let A is equals to 8. Therefore, the DI need to be calculated as XI minus of 8. So XI is our 2 minus of 8. So it become minus 6. Then 6 minus 8 minus 2. Then 10 minus 8 is our 2. Then 14 minus of 8, 6. Okay, student? After this, in parallel, we need to calculate DI FY. Go for multiplying. Our DI is minus 6 and FI is 4. So minus of 24. The next one is our minus 2, 8. Minus of 16. Next one is our 2 and 5, 10. Next one is 6 and the other 6, 36. Now you need to calculate summation of DI FY. Okay, students? What is this value? Anyone have calculated? Then please tell me quickly. Otherwise, you people are just to note down the answer. Yeah, what is this value?
Sir, 6.
Very good. A student, you can observe here. How is this only 6? Here you can observe that this, you try to adjust this. So 10 minus 16 is our minus 6. Okay. Minus 6 and this is minus of 30. And this is 36. So left over is only 6. Getting? So this way, even getting something positive, negative, even the addition become more simpler. That's why. So therefore, by the second method, B by our mean can also be obtained by choosing the A plus summation of DIFI divided by summation of FI. And this we have done. It's very easy. So go for substitution. Assumed mean here, A that we have assumed is our 8. So that we have to substitute it here. 8 plus DIFI is here 6 divided by FI is our 23. Okay, students. So just go for dividing it. You will get 8 plus, go for dividing 6 divided by 23 is again your 26. Good. So finally you are going to get the same answer, 8.26. Are we getting? So it's all. Now let's move ahead. Since I am explaining, it is taking a bit time, otherwise very fastly you can do. Now let us go for the next one. In next one, what is required? A student, U is required. So UI, how this is obtained? From the DI have to be divided by H. What is H here? 4 minus 0 is 4. So it is same as DI have to be divided by 4. So let us calculate it. Here the DI that we have taken is our minus x. So we shall go for minus x divided by this 4. 4 is obtained from the class interval. H is there. Okay. So that one. So 6 divided by 4. It is how much? Minus of 1.5. Yes, student. 6 divided by 4. It is this one. Next one is minus 2 divided by this 4. It is how much? 0.5. Next one is this 2 divided by the 4. It is our 0.5. What is the next one? 6 divided by 4. So it is again minus of 1.5. But this is not over. Why? We need DIFI. Like DIFI, now we need UIFI. So go for calculating UIFI. So write UIFI. What is our UI? Student, you should be careful while choosing these things. So our UI is 1.5 and FI is 4. So 1.5 into 4 is how much? Yes, students? It is our 1.5 into 4 minus of 6. That we have to take. Now the next one is 0.5 into 8 is our negative 4. Next one is 0.5 into 5, 0.25. Next one is 1.5. Why we have written this as negative?
Sir,
No, it should be
2.5.
positive. This was minus 1.5.
So it
No,
is 2.5.
Okay. It is up 2.5 students. 2. Why is this 2.5?
So not
It
that
is,
one, sir.
it was It was our 6 divided by 4. It was 1.5 only. Student, it is our 1.5. But this 1.5 have to be multiplied by 6. No. So it become 9.0. Yes, you were saying somewhere it should be 2.5. Where it should be 2.5?
Sir, it is not 0.25, it's 2.5.
Yeah, exactly. So it's this one, 2.5. Okay. So after this, what we need to do? Do the same thing. What is required for calculation? UIFI, summation of UIFI. Go for adding this. What is the value that you are going to get? A student, minus 10, sorry, minus 6 minus 4 is minus 10 and 9. It is 1. So it becomes 3.5. Isn't it? Minus, no, it is minus. Minus 10, 9 minus 1. So it is 2.5 minus 1 is our 1.5. Yeah, check it. Is it okay? I hope so. It is okay. Now we are in the method of which one? A step deviation, student. So in this case, mean x bar is obtained by the formula a plus h ui summation of ui fi divided by summation of fi. Okay, so here the a is same 8, the h is 4. So this thing we need to substitute here. So this is calculated by 8 plus h is our 4, UIFI 1.5 and FI is our 23. Student, if you multiply this, you are getting 1.5 multiplied by 4 is same as the 6. So it is same as the earlier one. 8 plus 0.25. Sorry, 26. So it is our 8.26 is the required answer. Yes, student, getting? So it's so simple to calculate the mean by any of the method. Now let us go for the mode. So for mode, nothing to do. Mode, the simplest thing. So let me solve that one also. Mode. For mode, very first is you have to write the model class. For model class, what you need to observe? A student, observe this frequency table. Downward. In this, you observe the highest frequency is our 8. Corresponding to 8, you need to go leftward to observe the model class. Okay, student? So be careful. Whatever the other marking that we have done, we need to remove it. So in this case, the model class is our 4 to 8, 4-8. From here we can write h is 8 minus 4 or anywhere it is always 4. One thing. The L is the lower limit, this 4. Okay. It is our 4. The frequency F1. From this we are observing it is our F1. So even you can mark this in the table itself. Okay, students. So better habit is to mark this in the table itself. So in the table itself, you must mark this frequency as F1. This class, from this class, you have to mark this lower limit as 4. Before this means this one as the F0. After this as F2. This as our L. That's all. So F1 is our 8. F0 Before this 8, it is 4. After this 0, F2 is our 5. And L we had already noted. Everything we have noted. So what is final requirement? The formula, student, after this. Now mode is given by L plus H multiplied by F1 F0 in numerator, twice of F1 minus of F0 minus of F2 in our denominator. This much. Okay. So just go for substitution. L is our 4 plus H is the other 4. F1 is our 8 minus F0 is our other 4. The same 4, no? Yeah. So many 4. Be careful. This 2, the F1 is our 8 minus F0 is 4. F2 is our 5. So we have to just do this simplification. By this we can get the answer. 4 into 4 divided by 4 to the 8 minus, sorry, 8 to the 16 minus 9. So it becomes 7. So be careful in doing this. 4 plus 16 by 7. So do this calculation of 16 by 7. First you have to do it, then you have to add it. It is like 4 plus 2.28. So it becomes 426.28 as the answer. Okay. So this way we have calculated the mode also. Get it? So this way you have to do the calculation. So this was all about the today class. We have learned about the two other methods of calculating the mean. It was our assumed mean and step deviation and the mode. This was all about. Write down the homework. Our textbook, student, please finish this exercise 14.1 by other two method wherever required. Okay, no, in the question wherever it is given to calculate by step deviation and other method, so do by this method. And you are also able to do the exercise 14.2 which is based on this mode. And if possible, please do for our RC book also up to exclude the median. Please do up to 15 question if you can. Otherwise, first finish our textbook. That is more important. Yeah, student, any doubt then please ask. Otherwise, I have finished this topic. Now we shall go for the median. Your time is up. I think today we cannot start the median. Yeah, student, or shall we continue? No, let us stop the class here. Yeah, student, any doubt? Any of the students have any doubt, then they may ask.